Hey guys, Camille from Friday We're in Love here, and I'm that girl that wrote that post 9 months ago about 7 excellent affordable alternatives to Lipsense. So I reviewed a bunch of these, and I just at the time started that project to try to be helpful to other people, and I cannot believe how much it blew up. It kind of went viral, and I've had so many emails, questions, etc. that I thought I would do a 9 months later. Because at the time I really was just testing these to see what stays on your lips and doesn't smudge off. I wanted to see, when I went into the project, I thought maybe one will work and maybe I'll give people one, drugstore alternative to Lipsense. And I was really shocked by the project to find that they stayed on. And so I shared that. I shared a lot of movies, and then I had so many questions. I only wore one like every day, spliced it together, did the project. It was quite the post, so thanks to anyone that watched that or watched all those movies. That was a lot of time in one post and a lot of time prepping for it and reviewing them. When it was over, I've had a lot of people ask about longevity, long wear, etc., how things have felt, how things have held up, how things have lasted, which ones have diminished really quickly, which ones have really been worth their money, because all the formulas are different. And so today I'm going to talk to you about a 9 month later follow-up of how all these have lasted, what I think about them now, which ones I'd still recommend. Okay guys, so 9 months later, let me talk about these. And I feel like I can actually do it pretty quickly and tell you what happened. I tried the Wet n Wild, but it wasn't my favorite in the 7, so it wasn't one I ever grabbed, and it's kind of cracking, falling apart now. So I don't know that I'd recommend it unless you really are looking for like a one-time cheap thrill. I thought I liked CoverGirl a lot, and I did. I liked the color I bought. I ended up buying 2 more colors of this, and I found that they flaked really bad. They didn't stay on as well. So I guess the thinner color I got was good, but it wasn't my favorite. It still was like towards the top, but I vowed after those I wasn't going to buy any more, and I haven't. So I haven't really worn CoverGirl very much. Rimmel, I think I probably said this wrong all along and made people cringe. This ended up being my least favorite. It stayed, but the feeling, it was like chalky, dehydrating, especially the older it's got, the less I've enjoyed this one. So I think I've worn it twice after the project, and I decided pretty quickly, you're just not my favorite, I'm not gonna wear you. The Revlon I mostly liked, but it does go really fast. It is a thicker formula. It was the least value of all the items, and so it's one that, it does similar to Lipsense, yes, but I felt like it really dried out my lips. Once again, I felt like it didn't last quite as long, and I also felt like I was just plowing through it. Only a couple wears, and I could see, I wish you could see through this, but the tube's like down to there. It's already about a third of the way gone, and I seriously only wore this one 4 times maybe. The 2 favorites that lasted were, I like L'Oreal. Let me preface that L'Oreal is thicker, and most of the formulas I didn't like ended up being thicker. This one I like for a different reason. I started wearing lipstick because my sister-in-law is a photographer, and she told me that she really hates when she has to Photoshop makeup on people, and I thought, really? You do that? And she said, yeah, if people don't wear any makeup in photos, it can just look so washed out and they can look so bad. And she's like, I know people feel funny, but even if you're not a lipstick wearer, you should wear it for pictures. And that got me thinking, I am a blogger. I take pictures almost every day. And so I started wearing some. I kind of went bold and jumped right into red immediately, and then wore it just for dates. And I've gone from there and have been just an addict. I've loved lipstick for a lot of years now. Mostly because I like how it makes me look and feel in pictures and the confidence it gives me. And I had a friend who's a makeup artist point out that L'Oreal photographs really well because it's so thick, because it looks like a true matte lipstick. And so I have ended up getting a few more L'Oreals, but I'll be honest that I don't wear them every day comfortably. I just wear them for pictures. So not knocking it, but I like L'Oreal in general. I think they make better products than a lot of drugstore companies, and I think they try to use better ingredients and help with sensitive skin, and I appreciate that about them. So yes, it was thick. It felt like glue had dried on my lips eventually, but I like this one for pictures. And if you look in there, it is It's almost gone, but I think I wore it, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 wears. So not bad for the price. And then my favorite continued to be the Maybelline, the Color Stay 24. I ended up buying several more colors of it. I think I owned 3. I owned a red, a pink, and this is kind of a purpley one. And I like it. The price is right. It does go kind of quickly, but it's a little bit of a thinner formula. It doesn't take any exfoliation time. And so I still stand by, all of these, that they are smudge-proof lipsticks. But at the end of the day, I was really just wearing Maybelline and not buying anything else unless it was for pictures specific. But if we're talking about everyday wear or a date night or, looking for kind of an 8-hour long-lasting lipstick, that's what I stuck with. So let's talk about how that compared to Lipsense and what happened to Lipsense after I did this project. Okay, so what's been crazy to me is the questions about, thank you for being honest, thank you for giving all these options. What do you really think of Lipsense? Do you still wear it? Do you still like it? So I'm going to tell you my Lipsense story. So I ended up wearing mostly Maybelline for most things. But I started adding a little more fashion into my blogging and taking some more fashion pictures. And I have always been a fan of the blue red. It's like it's what I'm wearing right now, true red. And I like it. It looks good on everyone. You just have to have a little courage to go, with the true bold red. And so that happened occasionally, and I was mostly wearing this in 2 other colors. I had a time where I'm a mom, I have a toddler, and teething was pretty awful for us. I know some people don't really notice when their kid's teething, but teething was like, he didn't sleep, he was up on the hour every hour, really grouchy, just a really hard time period. And when he was cutting in the last molars and incisors, he just couldn't even handle it. And so one day I went to comfort him and hold him, and he took his little head and he bonked it so hard into my face. I had like a fat lip, and these teeth cut right on the line of my gum and my lip. Like cut it open, bleeding, raw. It instantly got swollen and pussy and was just the most disgusting thing ever. And I didn't really know how to treat it because, lips and skin and then inside gum, like the medicine I would use for the different areas, there just wasn't really anything. And so at the time I was like, I don't even know, maybe I could dry it out with alcohol. And then I had this aha moment where I really hadn't worn Lipsense in about 3-4 months. My lips were not conditioned. You kind of have to go through an exfoliation period. The first week wearing it, some of it might come off because of that, because it's just getting rid of dead skin. And so I put it on just thinking, we'll just try it. And so here I am, already looking ridiculous, putting on blue red, this bold color. I put it on my lips, and I felt the sting. There is alcohol in it. That's how they clean and make it last. That's one of the things that makes it a different product. And I put it on, and I literally saw it like go down, almost completely gone after one day. And I was like, man, that stuff is great. Put it on the next day, and it was healed. And so, not kidding, not making it up, just really like, go Lipsense. And I've had a few people be like, yay for bashing Lipsense, and I don't feel like I ever did that in my last post. I just feel like I know that people can't necessarily come up with the $55 for a starter kit or $45 if you don't get the remover, which for the record, I personally don't think you need. Some people love it, but it doesn't work for everybody. But I really originally started it out going, I think other people deserve lipstick that doesn't come off, and I know that for some people that $45 is like your grocery budget for the week. So I was just looking for something that might be similar. So at the end of the day, I think the closest, it's not a one-to-one comparison, is still the Maybelline, and it's still the one I would tell people to do. But after I started wearing the Lipsense, I have infertility issues, and we've been trying to have another baby, and I had this miraculous pregnancy where we didn't do a treatment of any kind, and I just got pregnant on my own, and it was really, really exciting. That was about the same time my toddler teethed and hit my face, and when I found out I was pregnant in the few weeks before, my skin gets so sensitive that I really couldn't do any of the other alternatives, and even the Maybelline was starting to feel like so dried and cracked on my lips. And so I just thought, okay, I guess it's just a time and season. I'm only putting on lipstick for pictures. But I went back to Lipsense again, and I felt like I could wear it and I could do it with my sensitive skin. And so I personally started wearing it again. Also a little cautious, going, oh no, I'm really liking it again. And I still have the problem of, I love it and want to buy every shade of it, and I don't have the budget to do that. And so I talked to a friend and I bought one more color. And the second I started wearing that color, I was amazed how everywhere, every fashion shoot, every Instagram story, what are you wearing? What's your lipstick? Tell us about it. And I was like, really love it. And then I also at the same time had this post really taking off, and I had a lot of people saying, tell me more about Lipsense actually. And so I kind of felt a little bit like that sham, saying, these are all where it's at. And I still stand by the post. They still all last. I still sometimes even use Maybelline to this day. But I started going more and more back to Lipsense personally because of my sensitive skin. And so as that happened, and as I got another color and I was wearing it a little more and more, I had one of my best friends from college approached me and said, hey, I'm going to be a distributor. Do you want to team up for a Facebook post? And I said, just so you know, I've shared other alternatives. I just like to be totally honest with people. And she said, that's great. Let's do it. And I'll send you another color. And so I did, and was happy to promote her. And I also met with another friend that said, if you have all these people that are starting to ask, where are you directing them? So I put something at the bottom of the post that said, if you're looking for an honest distributor, because all my friends that have done it have been really great, really honest, non-salesy, non-pressure. A lot of the ugly sides of an MLM, I haven't seen with any of my friends. I've seen from a few other distributors. I know they're out there, but generally speaking, I feel like this is one company that's, people are pretty good. They have a pretty great code of ethics and things you should not be doing. And so I was like, sure, happy to promote you. Anyway, so I was putting links to that, and then I put a form, and I was amazed once again how many people were emailing me saying their stories of bad distributors, or their stories of being like, I don't even know where to look. And so I had a friend mention, Camille, why aren't you being that person? And I laughed hard, because I'm the girl that's now known for the 7 other products. I've had people even say, you hate Lipsense, and I don't. I mean, I've rewatched the videos. I really don't hate it. I just understand that sometimes that price is a little steep for people. But as I have gone on wearing all the other ones, I've found they do dry up, and you do use them pretty fast. That was my personal experience. And when I went back to my Lipsense that I've worn at least 20 times in pictures, I still had more than half, well more than half of the tube. And so when I started thinking about the value in the long term, I looked at it as it is an investment, and I think the claims that if you wear the 3 thin layers, ounce to ounce comparison, yes, it's cheaper per ounce on the other products, but I think you have to put more on because they're thicker. And so I personally was like, all right, I'm just going to invest in like my 3 Lipsense colors. Anyway, the more I've thought about this, the more I've been like, I want more colors and I want the discount. And so it's crazy for me to even say this, and I'm sure a lot of jaws will drop, but I signed up a couple months ago to be a distributor, mostly to get the discount for me. They have had a lot of stock issues. It's been really hard to get colors. If you bought it before, distributors, it's just been kind of a challenge for a lot of people. And so I've just barely gotten some new colors for me to try personally. And I felt like this dishonest person not coming back and saying, at the end of the day, this is still my favorite, and this is what I'm wearing the most. So let me tell you where I'm going from here. Okay, so today I'm obviously signed up and buying more Lipsense, wearing more Lipsense. Occasionally I'm still pulling in some Maybelline now and then, but every time I do, I gotta be honest, it feels so dry compared to the Lipsense. So I still am a big fan. Anyone that's like, I just don't have the money, I would say if you really want to try a long-lasting lipstick that doesn't smudge, all day long. Still look at my post, still try the other ones. I mean, they're great products, and I think everybody's skin is a little bit different. But I think having, lower cost option and being really real and honest about that's important. But also saying at the end of the day, like, these are what I'm wearing all the time now, and these are my favorites, is really important too. And so I signed up to be the distributor for the discount, and then as I've had more and more people ask on the post, who do you know, who do you recommend, or tell me honestly about it, I couldn't get that friend out of my head saying I should be that person. And so I guess I'm coming out today saying I am ready to be that distributor. If you are looking for Lipsense, if you're looking for an honest distributor, you know I'm that person, because I'm being honest that the other ones still work, and I still stand by that post 100%, and I'm still really proud of that post. But I do still think that it's kind of the difference of eating like organic produce versus not organic produce. I'm not saying it's organic. I'm not making that direct comparison. But I think most people, you know, if you have the money, they're about the same price, you would go with the organic. And some people start to really taste pesticides or GMOs or other things. So if that's the case and you're really looking for the premium product, or the one that lasts the longest, or the one that's going to be the best for your lips, I'm going to say Lipsense all day long. And I really do think it is an amazing product, an amazing company. Before I even signed up to get the discount, I read every single piece of literature they put out. It took some time, but I felt like I could stand by them. The things that kept me from doing it a year and a half ago when I first was introduced to Lipsense was the price, feeling like I knew some people couldn't afford it, and I hate that. I hate recommending things. I've kind of had to realize that, you know, I'm growing up, I'm more into value than cheap products these days, and so I personally, you know, like the value items, and I like the things that last, and I like the things that help me feel the healthiest. I could not believe, after, you know, about 5 months of not even really wearing Lipsense, how different my lips felt, how much more moisture I felt, how much more clean they felt, how well Lipsense lasted. That's not true for every color. I think some people have had bad experiences, because there are some colors that the pigment's just a little different, and it doesn't either go on quite as smooth or last quite as long. But for the most part, I think most of them are great. If you want an honest, like, should I buy this color or not, you can definitely ask me. I'm happy to tell you the ones. I haven't tried every color at this point, but there are a few that I know are a little more difficult to apply and to wear, and they might not last as long. And I know people have said different things for different skin tones too. So anyway, I continued to love my blue red like forever, and the new one I got was salmon, which is also a favorite. And then my two current favorites are caramel apple and Aussie rose, and all of these go on really well. Salmon has to be thinner layers, but anyway, I like them all, and I've been wearing them all quite a bit. So here's going to be my deal as a distributor. I promise I don't want to be the side of MLM I hate. That was like the main thing that kept me away, because I lived in an area where my church was very close and tight-knit community. Almost everyone went to my church, and people would literally use like membership lists to call people and sell, and I just always was so uncomfortable with that. I didn't study business growing up because I thought business was just shady MLM sales, and unfortunately I think we've all seen some of that on the internet. But for the most part, like I said, I've been really pleased with all the distributors I've met, the group I'm in, the people that are, you know, uplines. I've been so impressed with. I'm on such a good team with such good people, and they've always been so honest and real. And even after I did my post, I'm so grateful they all stayed my friends, and have been really supportive. So that's how that's gone. I am promising right now that I'm just not going to be that person. I don't want my blog to be overrun by everything Lipsense. I don't want to lose my identity as a person and a blogger. This is kind of something I view as, I love this product, I want to share it with other people, and I want other people to have the opportunity to have an honest opinion, honest review, honest selection of which colors work for some skin tones and don't work for others. I want to be that person. I want to be really honest. The other reasons I've done it, the business side, I just have to be so blunt about that. I know friends that are making killings, like they're well out earning their husband, they're buying dream homes, they're making like what I made with an MBA salary in a year, they're making it in, 2 months, maybe a month or two. It's just really incredible, like how it's grown and how much people love this product and want to continue to buy the product. And so I couldn't deny the opportunity. The friend that planted in my ear, you should maybe do this, when I was like, no way. She said, this is how a lot of people get out of debt. This is how a lot of people are able to travel. This is how a lot of people really set themselves up for financial success. She had read some blogs and some books lately and decided that, the number one thing they should be doing is a few little side hustles. And so it's really hard not to say, yeah, there's a lot of really great moms that are home with their kids most of the time, enjoying a product they love and making a little bit of money off of it. And they're just doing it casually. They're showing colors, and then people that love the product want to buy the product. And so it's hard for me not to say I am taking pictures all the time as a blogger, and there could be a good financial opportunity in it. And I think there will be. I don't know anyone that hasn't actually been successful unless they didn't really try or didn't put a lot of effort in. But I know everyone that has tried has been like, wow, I've been really pleased. They're really generous. The other thing is, I don't ever want to feel greedy. So I have some plans to sell it just a little bit different, to offer the best deals I can, to make it as affordable as I can. The company has some standards and some guidelines, and you can't sell certain, below a certain discount. But I plan to pass on as much discount as I can, because I honestly want people to have the opportunity to try it and love it if they're interested in it. And then my third reason is also business reasons. I one day would like to launch my own company with my own products. And this is such an easy way. If you've ever been somebody that wants to try a boutique, or you have a product in mind you want to develop, what a cool way, right? To sell something that people already know and love and support people. And then I should add one more. Because of the success of this post, I had a lot of people ask me, have you tried this other one, or have you heard of these follow-ups? So I was going to write a part 2, and I started looking at all the other ones, and I thought, looking at pricing, they were all either the same price as Lipsense, or they were more. Like, I literally found one that was the same product and has even claimed they were there before Lipsense, and I know there's some drama, but they're charging almost twice the price. And I just, at the end of the day, I couldn't dispute the fact that I like supporting other women. And I did my original post to try to support women that I thought deserved great lipstick and couldn't afford what I thought was the best on the market. And I wanted to see if there was anything else that was even similar. And so, yes, there are things that are similar in that they don't smudge off, but in the health benefits, in the long wear, in the great product, Lipsense, I think, just wins. And if I was, doing my original post, I would say the only con, I think, is that it can be a little pricey for some people. So like I said, stick with me. Here's where I'm going to be available if you want to buy anything. I'm just going to casually link blog posts in the future. I really don't want it, like I said, to overtake what I already do. But I am going to be In Love Lips, so kind of a play off of Friday We're in Love. I'm on Instagram, In Love Lips. And then on Facebook, I'm also starting a group there. It'll be live by the time I post this video, but In Love Lips. So find me there. And then I am also planning to launch a website so that I can put videos up, tutorials, links. It's already in the works. So hopefully it's up by the time I launch this, but if not, know it's coming soon. And know that if you are interested in it, you want a really honest person that you want to buy from, you want me to keep it real, I'm happy to be that person, and I hope everybody gets to try lipstick that lasts a long time, that really is so good for your lips, that feels so good for your lips, and I'd love to be a part of that for you. And even if not, I hope I've still been a part of helping you find my favorite knockoff or another one that works the best for you. So there you have it, coming out 9 months later, letting you know I am wearing Lipsense almost exclusively these days. I like it the best, but I definitely still stand by my original post. I want women everywhere to love how they look and to be able to have lipstick that lasts, that they can go on dates and kiss with confidence in, and that they really can be in love with their lips.